Hold on one second. Okay, now that all the white people are gone, I can tell you that they have always been deathly afraid of the dark, and history proves it. White people love to act like they're the most rational, enlightened civilization, but their entire history is shaped by an irrational, deep-seated fear of the dark. They built entire mythologies and religions around the idea that darkness is evil. They designed their cities, homes, and societies to eliminate as much darkness as possible. They feared the night so much that they turned it into a time of paranoia and policing. They colonized lands full of people who thrived in the dark, then imposed their own fears onto them. Even today, their fear of darkness drives racial paranoia, over-policing, and obsession with home security. At some point, we have to ask, if white people were truly the most rational civilization, whatever the hell that means, why have they spent their entire history terrified of something as natural as nighttime? European folklore is packed with creatures that only come out at night. Werewolves, vampires, demons, ghosts, goblins, whatever. Christianity, which shaped white European culture, equated darkness with sin, evil, and the unknown. Medieval Europeans believed forests at night were full of witches, goblins, and demonic forces waiting to attack. They feared black magic and dark places, while other cultures just viewed them as a normal part of life. African, Middle Eastern, and Asian societies used the cool of night for travel, hunting, and socializing. Many indigenous cultures saw the night as time for storytelling, reflection, and ceremony, not fear. Islamic and Hindu traditions describe the night as time for peace, wisdom, and spiritual connection. White people weren't embracing the dark. They were writing horror stories about it. White people built their cities and homes to keep the dark away. Unlike non-white civilizations which embraced the natural rhythm of night and day, white societies have always tried to eliminate darkness. European cities historically relied on torches, lanterns, and gas lamps, not just for function, but because they were terrified of the night. Modern white suburbs are flooded with bright streetlights, motion sensors, and security cameras, even in safe areas. They push for over-policing at night, convinced that crime is lurking in every shadow. Meanwhile, non-white societies functioned just fine in the dark. African and indigenous cultures moved through jungles, forests, and deserts at night without fear. Asian cities balanced lighting with nature, avoiding eliminating darkness entirely. Latino and Middle Eastern cultures have vibrant night markets, social gatherings, and traditions that embrace nighttime activity. White people weren't adapting to the dark. They were trying to erase it. White people's fear of the dark fueled their colonial paranoia. Colonial settlers feared indigenous and African resistance most at night because these groups understood the terrain better than them. They built walled forts, carried torches, and refused to travel after sunset out of fear of ambush. Plantation owners and slaveholders obsessed about patrolling at night because they were afraid of revolts that they knew were justified. They imposed harsh curfews and nighttime restrictions on colonized people because they feared what they couldn't see. Meanwhile, non-white groups used the night to their advantage. Enslaved people in the U.S. used the cover of dark to escape on the Underground Railroad. Maroons in the Caribbean and Latin America moved at night to evade capture. Indigenous warriors in the Americas and Africa launched successful night raids on European forces while they were blind and defenseless. White people weren't conquering the world. They were trembling in the dark. White people's fear of the dark is deeply tied to racial paranoia. They associate darkness with criminality, leading to racial profiling and over-policing in black and brown communities. They overlight their neighborhoods and businesses, convinced that crime happens in dimly lit areas. They push stand your ground laws and use nighttime as an excuse to justify violence against people they find threatening. They promote conspiracy theories about dangerous neighborhoods even when crime rates are lower than in majority white areas. Meanwhile, non-white communities actually function in the dark. Many cultures have long-standing night traditions, from Latino and Asian night markets to African moonlit ceremonies. They don't see darkness as inherently dangerous, just a part of life. They don't need extreme security measures just to feel safe. White people weren't adapting to the world. They were running from shadows. White people's fear of the dark has created real-world problems. Their overuse of artificial light has caused massive environmental damage, disrupting ecosystems and harming wildlife. Their obsession with security lights has led to light pollution, making it hard to see the night sky in many areas. They refuse to embrace natural darkness, creating societies where people's circadian rhythms are completely disrupted. They've made nighttime unsafe, not because of actual crime, but because of their own paranoia. Meanwhile, other cultures live in balance with darkness. Many traditional societies practice sustainable, low-impact lighting. They structure their lives to embrace natural light cycles rather than fighting them. They don't spend billions on electricity just to keep their paranoia at bay. White people weren't conquering the dark. They were making it worse for everyone else. White people weren't built for darkness. They were built for floodlights and fear. If white people were truly the most rational civilization, why have they spent their entire history afraid of something as natural as the night? Cope.